everyone. Welcome to another episode of Xbox Infinite. Welcome to the show, guys. Chat's already pumping. Welcome, everyone. Welcome all the old schools, the new schools. And welcome to our guest, one of our favorite people in the community, Mr. Bushido, mate. How are you doing? Welcome back to the show. It's been a while. How's things? What have you been playing? What have you been up to? Yeah, the penis game. Yeah. yeah. It didn't do it for me, man. It was... Yeah, it's cool, but there's too much that's out right now. Speaking of out, unfortunately, we're down one member. Doom Cutie is suffering from a migraine, so she's having the day off. I'll have to dock her pay later in the week, but we don't pay her. We should be live. Yeah, right, guys. Chat is it's like Risket's talking on the phone. Yeah, I can see that there's a bit of a problem here with the audio. So let me just check this out and see if I can figure it out. Apologies, guys. We'll just do a re-jump. Try that.
Am I the only one that sounds pristine and great? I think I am. They said Bushido sounds crazy too, apparently.
I think I got it, man. This
anyone but Risket.
Yeah, the OBS resets the sound, man. It's doing some weird stuff. It looks like I've got sound now on the desktop. But gotcha. Yeah. So look, welcome to the show, Bushido. What have you been playing?
You all missed it. But Bushido praised me up to the heavens. I wish you all would have heard it.
Yeah, you guys missed it. Oh, well. Yeah. It looks like I don't have to praise you guys again. So anyway, I've been playing Cyberpunk. Oh, yeah. It's a good thing it did restart. We playing some Generation Zero this week. Me and Umbra and Blood Wolf. I like that game. I really do like it.
And casual,
really do like it. I need to get Cash. Yeah, I need to get Pete in there. I think Pete would enjoy it.
Downloaded, right? Downloaded, ready to rock.
That's right. You did tell me that this week. I forgot. Yeah, that's right. But that and what was the other game I said again? Score. Yeah, I gotta finish scoring.
Scored.
Yeah, I gotta finish scoring.
The alien penis game, apparently.
Yes, alien penis game. Yep.
Yeah, look, before I move on to the guests, the panel member, I'll just say, guys, apologies. Unfortunately, OBS has this thing where it likes to delete settings and puts them back to default. I don't know why it's doing it. It's not just me. I was speaking to Ashtray earlier. I was on his podcast this morning, and he's having the same problem. So, OBS, get your shit together. Like Jedi Knight Pete has. Welcome back. How you doing, man? How's your week been? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
Yeah, awesome. Cannot wait. Another awesome episode. Awesome to have Mr. Bushido back. I think, for the third, fourth time? You might as well just become a panel member, brother.
Well, we can't have two.
Somebody, so
we can't have two Umbras. We can't.
He said two Umbras.
Oh, you can't have. I mean, listen, more Umbras is never a bad thing, but there's no replacing this Umbra. It's, one of a kind. I'm just saying.
Shout out to Doom Cutie, who is unfortunately not going to be with us today because she's feeling sick. I hope you feel better soon, girl. We miss you. I have been trying to play Plague's Tale, but every time I play it, I'm in a massive party, and so I don't want to miss anything of that game. So I just basically sit there. I want to see my hour count at the end of that game. I think it's something going to be like 100 hours or something because I basically just sit there on a blank screen and do nothing. And then COD came into my life, and wow, I haven't got any sleep the last couple of days. I've basically just been stuck on that game. It's awesome fun when it works, but you literally get kicked out of the game every
Yeah.
second game, so it's infuriating. But awesome, cannot wait to talk gaming. Big week this week. Let's go.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And KY Bob in the chat, I was typing to you, but now that Pete's finished saying g'day to everyone, I would say, yeah, look, appreciate the offer, man, but I'll get you on soon. Hopefully we can shorten the show up a little bit, guys, have a bit of a shorter one so that we can get back to Modern Warfare and shooting Russians. Umbra, no offense to casual. Umbra, how you doing, man? Welcome back for another fantastic episode of Xbox Infinite, man. How's your week been? What have you been playing? What have you been up to?
It's been okay for the most part. I mean, I had a bit of a medical issue where I missed out on doing the Xbox Factor this week, unfortunately, and I'm just trying to recover right now. But I'm getting there, man. I had played through a bunch of games actually. So Scorn was one, and as I spoke on, and as well as Plague Tale Requiem, which I reviewed a bit on my Twitter. I said it right. Twitter page, if you all check it out. Put beautiful imagery up and everything like that. Love the game. I thought it was spectacular. I think it's a game of the year contender, personally. I see you out there, Scott. He says, I thought there were two Infinite Umbras. No, Bushido wishes he sounds as great as me, but no.
He's on my list now. Now he's on my list.
But Pete, thinking of that, I checked my hours when you were saying it of that, and I had 3 days, 22 hours and 19 minutes in that game. And that's because I had to play through it 3 times, everybody, because I wanted that one pesky achievement that the game doesn't really break down how to get those skills. And I had to go back through it after I got to the end of the second playthrough on New Game Plus. It didn't escalate up high enough. So I was at a part where I had no other areas where I would come across enemies. So I just started over again and did it again and finally got it. So that's what really took me time. Yeah.
100%?
100% it. Yep. Loved it.
Bro. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. And of course, like Bushido pointed out, we played Generation Zero, some of that. I enjoyed it. It's definitely, as Palpy was pointing out in the chat, definitely worth playing with friends. Don't do it by yourself. It's just empty by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And of course, I'm hoping to get into this Modern Warfare. I see you, everybody's loving it, and I'm hearing nothing but positives for it. But I might pick that up. I'm still tempted on it. I'm not sure one way or another just yet.
Wait, you mean Gotham? You mean you don't trust the IGN review?
No, I don't trust them at all when it comes to reviews, being honest. But the thing that's hard for me is that I'm just, when it comes to COD, I'm just more of a campaign player. I don't really play multiplayer for them like that. That's the problem for me. So it feels like it'll be me, and I don't want to pay $70 for a game either. I'm very staunch against that. So it's tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I could use my rewards points to cover it. So, but to be fair, but
we could have another fight, man. I'd cover that $10 as well.
Oh yeah, you can donate me another $10 right now and just get it over with if you want. I mean,
I thought it was a good event.
It was close. It was close last time you were doing that Mike Tyson shit. You put me off, man. That's
I don't know what you're talking about. What is he saying? What are you talking?
Next fight, you get muted and you're going down for a clavicle nap. That's what we're doing. I was laughing too much.
This is ridiculous, Coach. How can you keep hitting me like this? I don't understand it.
If you guys haven't seen that fight, it's still up on the channel. Unfortunately, I haven't pulled it down. I've thought about it a few times, but it's too funny. Jump across and check that out. Before we jump into the topics, guys, hit that like button. Share us out. We go live every Friday, 8 p.m. EST. Let people know we're here, and if you're new here, subscribe and say g'day in the chat. Don't lurk. You can lurk if you want to, but it's nice of you to say hello to everyone. First topic off the run is a big one, a very big one. So Phil Spencer's been out there and he's been doing the talky talk, and he said quite a bit. There's a few things that I want to kind of break it down throughout this topic. One of the things that he spoke on that I kind of want to speak on first is the profitability of Game Pass. Now, we know now factually that it is profitable. Now, this is being disputed still by a few of the community members who hail from the blue side, saying that it's clever accounting. They're probably just flat out lying. That's not happening. That's not how it works, right? These people have shareholders. This business has shareholders. It's a publicly traded company. They cannot come out and just say, hey, it's profitable, and then tell the shareholders, no, we were just saying that for the console war. Like, that's not how this works. If they say it's profitable, they need to have the evidence to back it up. And if they don't, they can be litigated. They can be fined. There's many things that can happen if they basically run shit off the top of their head that's not true. So they won't do that. We do know it's profitable. I mean, after $2.9 billion of revenue, you've got to, that's just common sense. That's going to be a little bit of profit coming out of there. Look, I'm going to go to you, Bushido. What do you think about, Game Pass being profitable? It doesn't really matter to us as consumers, other than the fact that we know it's going to be a continuing service, which is awesome. But what are your thoughts on how the community has approached and accepted the fact that Game Pass is profitable?
I just find it really funny that anything positive about Xbox, somebody could find anything negative to say, even if it's not true. And I've seen a few fake accounts I've heard recently comment on this. Fake analysts, saying that it's not profitable and just throwing numbers out there just to look like they know what they're talking about. I also don't get why you don't, like you just said, if it is profitable, or is it, regardless of whether it's profitable or not, you can't hide those numbers, because what happens is, one, you can go to jail. Two, the fines aren't even worth screwing around like that. So for people just to dispute it is ridiculous. And it's not like they said they were making like $100 billion. They were saying it was like 2.9 billion. That's cool. That's a profit. Even if it was $1, that's still a profit. Ain't a lot, but I'm just saying that's still a profit. So when I see people disputing it, I'm wondering, like, one, why are you disputing it and you have it right in front of you? And two, why is everybody lying so badly about it, like making anything and everything up?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty nuts that some people are just going to not accept that it's. Look, we've even had a CFO, or a supposed CFO, saying that there's no way a business model like that can be profitable. There's one thing that you guys that people don't really seem to understand. That Microsoft is not just Game Pass. It's got many other facets, and there's many other revenue streams that come into it. The traditional sales model is what really makes Microsoft its money. He said 10 to 15%. I tend to think it's slightly higher. Personally, I think they're dumbing it down for the acquisition. But look, traditional sales model is what makes them their money. They're not a Netflix. Netflix relies solely on subscriptions, and that business is profitable. So I don't know how
But that right there in itself, like you just said, even if it's, let's say, go with the 15%, that's still profitable for that, for Xbox in itself. So if it wasn't making anything, believe me, they would cut that off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Pete, I'm going to go to you and just hit you up. What do you think about Game Pass being profitable? You think it's a lie? They've made it up. It's clever accounting. What are your thoughts?
I would think that it's a little bit of a word salad, a little bit of clever wordplay. Like you said, Risket, they're a publicly traded company. They're not allowed to say that it's profitable and not be profitable in some way, but how they determine that profitability is really up to them. So if you include the $70 billion acquisition and what the $7.8 billion acquisition of Bethesda, and include that, I wouldn't say it's profitable at all. It's now, what, 15% of Xbox's total revenue? So we know the figure that's pointing out. If it turns out that all the third-party deals that they're making and all of the games that they're putting out into it, and it is actually profitable, that's amazing. But I mean, for example, if you include just the development costs of something like Halo and everything you have to pay, and the rebuilding of the engine, I don't see how it could be. I think it's still in its infancy. Uh, but in saying that, I don't really care. I
Okay,
love
so
Game
so
Pass.
you're
I don't care if it's profitable or not. I love it. I love the games that I get. I still haven't bought Halo, and I play it literally every day, or at least weekly. So yeah, things like that don't really bother me.
so you don't think that it's profitable, Game Pass?
No, well, it depends on how you want to add it up. It just depends on how you want to add it up. If you add all the development costs to all the games that are in Game Pass, I don't think that it would end up being profitable. I can't see that. Yeah, development costs for games are it's a lot of money. There's a lot of games in Game Pass, and then you add on top of that the third party deals, paying things like Outriders to be there day and date. Even smaller games, we heard very ridiculous figures of I think I'm not sure what the game was, but it was $300 million to put it in there. Things like that. I don't think you can see it as being profitable. I just can't see that. But yeah, it's a little bit of a word salad, I think. And like I said, it's still in its infancy, Game Pass. So I think that Microsoft can see that it can be profitable. They said in that interview that it's 15% of their games and services at the moment. They don't ever see it being more than 15% of their games and services, but they see their total revenue going up. So everyone that says that Microsoft is all in on Game Pass and that's the only thing they're focusing on, they need to listen to what Phil Spencer said. He doesn't believe it's ever going to be more than 15%. Like I said, they are going to continue doing, the regular selling games, selling, uh, cosmetics, all the other way they make money. But they're hoping that it will remain at that 15% of their revenue year on, year out as a constant source of revenue. If you look at it from this point of view, content and services revenue actually went down this year by 3% because there were no first party games. But it was offset, and they actually specifically said this, it was offset by Game Pass. And I'm guessing that's going to be the 159% increase in PC Game Pass. I think that they might have hit the limit of the amount of people that they hit on console. But PC Game Pass is where they're going to grow, and then mobile Game Pass, which I think will be a separate thing, will also there's massive ability to increase revenue, especially in mobile and PC.
Yeah, well, look, I'm going to disagree with you on this one. I'll move to Umbra, but look, if the man is saying, "Hey, it's profitable," he can't say that legally and get away with it. I mean, clever accounting, I don't know. Like, it depends on how you look at what the costs of Game Pass are. When you talk about UI, when you talk about people handling all that back end stuff, they're already going to be there. So when you include those overheads, that's already overheads you're spending anyway. So whatever they do inside Game Pass, really, the only thing I could kind of see there, of course, there's going to be overheads, but the main cost is always going to be your games. And we know that one of the biggest AAA games that they paid for was $10 million. That's the one of the biggest AAAs they've had in the service, right? Well, it's probably the biggest AAA third party they've had, which is Guardians of the Galaxy. That was 10 mil. And then we had a very low end game, was that Gordon Ramsay cooking simulator, whatever it was called. That was 600,000
simulator.
Yeah. So if you crunch if you crunch the numbers on all that, hang on 2 seconds. I'll go back to you. We crunched the numbers on all of that, and I bloated the shit out of the figures to account for overheads. So I was including the development of their AAAs, and I put 70 AAAs into the figures. And there's no way there's 70 AAAs, but I put 70 in there. And then I used the rest were only indies, and around about that $600,000-$500,000 mark type thing. And I came out with around about 900 mil profit, $1 bill profit. But he could be walking away with $1 profit, and that's profit, right?
Yeah. Look, what I said before was incredibly unfair. You can't add in all the expenses to every AAA game that's in Game Pass, because you do sell those games, physically, digitally, and then you add in, all the microtransactions that are included in that game. So what I said is an incredibly unfair way of looking at it. I just wanted to point out that we don't actually know how it's being calculated. So, like clever accounting, wordplay, we don't actually know for sure. But like I said, I don't really care if it's profitable. I love it. So, well, I do care because they won't continue to, put it out there if it's not profitable. But
Yeah.
Microsoft know more than me. They know what they're doing.
That's typically where my thought process kicks in, Pete. It's like I don't care about their financials so much as a consumer because I'm not getting any of it. But I do care as a consumer to the fact that them doing well means I get more. So yeah, and I get more good stuff from it. So that I'm with you on that part. I don't know the whole profitable thing. I mean, I don't. I mean, all of us. I don't think you were saying that they were lying about it. But you can say obviously is a bit of cleverness in the words. I do agree with that to a degree. I don't know how much it is as far as actual numbers. None of us do. But when they say 15%. I don't know if that's something also because it can go either way. That could be something that said they could be saying it in that way because there's plenty of ways to fudge numbers or present numbers. We've learned that from politics. So they could be saying that in a way also to make themselves present themselves as meek because of the
fudge numbers. Never.
No, but yeah, but they could be doing that to also present themselves as meek in that area also because of the situation going on with the CMA and regulators. So who knows how that could play out? They could be like, well, I mean, we're doing good, but Game Pass only accounts for this. We want it to grow to 74%. Or 75%. We only hit 25%. So we missed our mark there. You know what I mean? And that's they actually did say that. So those things come into play for me when I think about it. But as far as profitability, I mean, Phil has said this is not the first time he said this. So I definitely believe that, it's been profitable. To what degree, we don't know. So I won't even speculate on that to that degree. But I don't think that the games they have on there versus the people they have to pay and things like that are accounting for so much that they're not gaining, several million, if we, what I mean, whatever it may be. I don't think it's obviously any numbers that Microsoft would be satisfied with, obviously, but they're going to get there in time. I mean, we've seen growth in the PC market for them, and that's what they want to do. And they want to go to mobile because they keep speaking on that in general when it comes to things. And so that's really where they want to grow. So all of this is in a way to grow efforts in not just Game Pass, but every corner of their business. And they spoke on this also before where they talked about how Game Pass people, those that subscribe, spend more. So like you were pointing out, Risk, people still buy other things. And, free to play is the biggest market as far as any type of model of any game on any platform. So getting these microtransactions and things like that, like they still do. Hell, I'm a proud person, a proud microtransaction buyer on the Halo still. I got the Reef recently and the skins and the armor. So things like that you wouldn't think that still sell so well because people always talk about Halo is dead. They still sell well. Halo Infinite is definitely profitable for them too. You know what I mean? So I can only imagine how something as big as Game Pass with all the microtransactions tied into it have to play into that figure in some way. So I don't know how we can quite break it down, and I'm not going to play one of the armchair analysts online and sit here and be like, oh, well, I need the numbers to calculate such and such. These guys is doing that. We all know why they're doing that. I mean, it's not, it's disingenuous. They want to sit here and try to diminish Xbox in some way. So that's what it comes down to. And that's why we will never get the numbers like we used to because of those types of people, by the way. So, but I think that, it's reassuring to hear that they keep saying that it's profitable. It's not the first time we've heard it, but it, as I said, as a consumer who wants it to keep going and wants it to keep growing in a way for where we get more from it, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, look, I think you got to think of Xbox Game Pass as a tool for the company to drive people to the consoles, and that's really what they're using it for. It is the best deal in gaming. And that may be changing very, very soon. So it kind of brings us on to the topic within a topic. It's an Inception topic. So Phil also mentioned, and his exact words, I do need to find them. Unfortunately, I was flicking through a few other things. He said, I do think at some point we'll have to raise prices on certain things. But going into this holiday, we thought it was important to maintain the prices. We've held price on our console, we've held price on games and our subscription. I don't think we'll be able to do that forever. I do think at some point we'll have to raise some prices on some certain things. Really interesting that he would say that. Now, look, I've had a bit of a chance to digest this. I was on Boom Show earlier in the week when this had dropped, and I had to have a bit of a think about it. It was a very raw take. I have always thought that Game Pass is going to go up. It's never going to stay at $15. When you have AAA games, first-party games coming in from Microsoft at a cadence, what happens to Game Pass is its value proposition. Everyone loves saying the value proposition. Its value goes up. And when the value of something goes up within a business, it normally becomes more expensive. They will charge you more because they know they can. And Microsoft is a business. I fully expect it to go up. We've also talked about many times, I believe, Umbra and Jedi, we were all on the same page with this one, strangely enough, is that eventually Microsoft are going to go to $70 games. You can't really be the only publisher within an industry that is all selling their games for $70. Whether we agree or not, it's very likely to happen. So I think people need to get used to it. And the one thing I'll say before I move on to our guests and then to the panel is that you've got a chance now. He's given you the opportunity to stack your Game Pass. If you can stack Game Pass, start doing that now, because I think we're going to see it go up. I personally think when they start dropping a cadence, and I think it's either going to be Redfall or Starfield. I do believe Starfield is where we'll see that go up. I think $70 games will come in early in the new year. I don't think we're going to see a price rise on the consoles. That's my take on it. Bushido, what are your thoughts on what Phil Spencer said? What do you think is going to go up, if anything?
I do agree with you. I do think games will, in my opinion, I think games will go first. And I think Game Pass will go up maybe the year afterwards because it's still growing. I think one thing you hit on that I thought of also was when they started dropping their own first party games. And I think me and Umber had this conversation before when we counted up how many studios they have and the studios that they are getting with ABK and how many games you would really start dropping. I know he was saying like Phil was saying like one a quarter, but from looking at how many studios they have, including Bethesda and everything, and the regular ones they already have, you may be dropping 2 a quarter. And it sounds ridiculous, but as far as many studios, and look, they're not done buying studios. So I think the first one will be game price. It'll go up to $70. And then I think Game Pass will go up. I don't think it'll go by a lot, though, but I do think it'll go up. It'll be as much as Ultimate, and Ultimate might go up to like $18 or something like that, maybe $20.
Yeah, look, I think, if I said this before, a lot of people are thinking 20, and I did a poll. I did 20, 30, and 80 just for a laugh. Look, it's very likely. I agree with you. I think $18 is probably the price point that everyone could afford. Jedi, do you think that we'll see Game Pass go up coming into the new year? Game prices go up. What about the console? He mentioned that console in there, and PlayStation really has kind of set a standard there. So,
just before that, I wanted to point out Shooter's message. Big thank
you to
everyone.
I've already got it.
Amazing, very welcome, Shooter. In terms of what putting the prices up, I think Shooter's right. I think the price of games will go up. The console will definitely not go up, and I think Microsoft have shown over the years that they are very, very happy to take a loss on a console and then get the money back on the back end. And I mean, that's typically how gaming has been done. Nintendo are a bit of an exception to the rule, and PlayStation have since changed their stance, basically in this generation where they've basically become profitable straight off the bat, and then even increase the price when they did when inflation made it so it's not profitable anymore. I don't think Microsoft will do that. And I also think that they will hold off on increasing Game Pass if they do it at all. I think games will definitely go up to $70 because it's basically become the industry norm now. So Ubisoft, most developers have done it. Most publishers have done it, except for a few outliers on the few Japanese publishers that haven't done it, and Microsoft is holding off as well. But I think, like I said, it was going to become the industry norm. In terms of Game Pass going up in price, I think a lot of people are pointing to the $70 billion acquisition and saying that it's going to have to, especially with the amount of content that we're going to be getting from the acquisition, ABK acquisition. Uh, I think they'll hold off for a year. Uh, in the prior numbers, it said the PC Game Pass has gone up by 159%. They haven't even added a mobile Game Pass, and I do think that they will do that, especially when they get King. I think Phil Spencer said in the Tech Talk interview on the Europe side that there's 3 billion mobile gamers out there. They really want to hit on some of those people. A really, really good way to do that is by giving them stuff that they play already, like Candy Crush and other games like that, and give it to them for free, and then give them free stuff in the game. So Call of Duty Mobile just hit $1 billion in revenue in its lifetime. So if you can get Call of Duty, a lot of people play that game. It's actually the most played Call of Duty game. So I heard. I don't know if that's right, but that's what I heard. So, so if that's true, and you have to, I'm pretty sure it's not free to play. I'm not a big mobile gamer, but if you can get that for free and then get a lot of stuff added to the battle pass for you for free as well, and it becomes worth it for you to sign up. And I don't think it'll be the $15 Game Pass. I think they'll have an individual tier for mobile gaming, say $5 a month, something along those lines. But if you can hit a few million people with that, that's a big influx of money. But we all see what they're doing with the PC market. I mean, everyone that says that they made these acquisitions for console, I don't think is really reading the room. They made these acquisitions for PC and mobile, and like I said before, 159% increase in PC Game Pass. We can see with the acquisitions that they have made, they have to be making PC games. They have to be putting PC games out there. That's their focus at the moment. It doesn't mean they're going to neglect us console gamers, but it definitely is their focus at the moment. So I think that they will hold off. They will see if they're getting the numbers that they need to be getting to make Game Pass profitable, quote unquote, and then go from there. I don't think we'll see an increase for at least a year, if we see one at all.
You know what? That was the one point that I did want to enunciate more on. Just a small point. I think the subscriber base will dictate when and if it goes up. If the subscriber base goes up to 50 million, it might not be for a couple of years. You don't want to necessarily give a sticker shock to new people who just get on there. So you might wait a little bit, but yeah, it just depends on the numbers of subscribers too. Yeah.
Well, look, he was saying they've hit the ceiling, or he believes they've hit the ceiling with consoles. I think that's again, I think that's a little bit more rhetoric for the acquisition. I think that they definitely have not hit the ceiling, especially with the moves that they're making over East. There's more, and as Satsi and Adela said just recently, I think it was a ridiculous amount, like 60% of Series S owners are new to the ecosystem. So, I mean, I think that's not a ceiling. It's going to continue to go up and up and up as we go. But Umbra, I just look to go to you. What do you think about the price rises? Do you think we'll see any at all? And do you think, how do you think they'll get rolled out?
It's interesting. I mean, all of this, the dynamics of this is interesting because, you got the ponies, Hoove Brothers online. And, so they're playing it up. It doesn't behoove them to be normal. So our Hoove Brothers are going to say anything abnormal to try to.
Some bad puns.
You liking it. But it's funny because Sappho pointed it out. It said it's funny that they call Phil a liar, but they believe him here when they say it's possible that we might have to raise prices and such. Yeah, but when it's negative, we believe Phil. When it's something positive, he's a liar. Don't believe him. And just to point out, our brother Palace Guard, aka Casual, in the chat, Phil did not say any certainty that they're going to do it, but we know that that's what he's alluding to. Yes, it's more than likely they're going to have to raise prices. That's why I was correcting. He didn't say any certainty. That's why I was correcting you on, because you often handle quotes and such. Anyway, getting back, I think he didn't know. You would have never say hi to him, would you? Well, now you know, so don't say don't say anything to him now.
I retract my hello.
But I was gonna say, and I see our brother Sycamore in the chat. He's saying that Q2 he believes that they're going to raise the price of the console. Sick, I got nothing but love for you, brother. But he does not say. I don't believe that's going to happen at all. As far as that goes, I don't think they're going to raise the console prices in any factor. I think if anything,
yeah, I don't think so at all.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense for them to do. They're not as in demand for one as the PS5,
right.
And it pains me to say that, but that's one. Two, they can't try to offer a value proposition with the S and then raise the price on it. It just doesn't make sense. Also, I mean, even Sony doing what they did, it made no sense, but they can get away with it because they have such a crazy market share. But I don't think Microsoft is going to follow suit when it comes to that. What I think they will definitely do. Now, I'm not sure which one will come first. When we did discuss this risk, where it was about, would it be the games or would it be Game Pass first? I've slightly shifted, and I think gaming would come first as far as the rate increase. I think that Starfield, as you pointed out, will be the first game to hit 70. It makes the most sense. It's a big time game. It's only available on Xbox or PC. That makes the most sense to put that at 70. It's a 25-year game in the making from Todd Howard, or God Howard, as they say. That makes the most sense.
Starfield now for 60.
Yep. And so
they're gonna have to announce it before they do that, and then
that's true.
They're not. Yeah,
that's true.
A tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, that is true. I wonder how that will work though. If they decide to change the pricing later, I don't know how that would, if they could do such a thing. But if anything, I would imagine that if they raised anything first, it would be the game prices, just because they'd have to go and try to match up with the rest of gaming in that way. Unfortunately, I blame Sony and I blame their fans for us adapting to that $70 price tag model. But other than that, I think Game Pass will come right after it. And the thing is, though, they're going to have more of a reason to rate. It could go either way, as far as which one comes first. But I think it makes more sense for the gaming price increase, because once the ABK situation is situated, I think they'll kind of shift to that. Because one of the questions we all did have was, how are they going to handle it when it comes to ABK, since they were already charging 70 for Call of Duty games and such? Are they going to lower them to 60? It didn't really make sense, right? So I think once the ABK situation is done, that's when you'll get that increase for gaming. But as far as Game Pass,
there's a 10 to 20% discount when you're on Game Pass on all first-party games anyway. And doesn't it just make sense? It makes Game Pass even more of a more value if they raise it to 70.
It does. And I mean, and the thing on top of that is, the reason why I can see Game Pass being first to raise. So I'm not sure one way or another, but I can see Game Pass being the first there to raise, because 2023 is going to be a pretty solid year for Xbox. So they're going to have nothing but value proposition over value proposition with the first party games releasing into it, and as well as third party. So they're going to have more than enough reason to say, hey, this is now $20, for instance, or whatever it may be. And I don't think 20 is too much for any of us to really suffer through. I don't think so. I don't think that's too harmful. On the
flip side, Umbra, because if you look at it and you look at the amount of content that they're putting in, you could get a massive growth in actual subscriber numbers because of the amount of content that's going in there, and that might actually offset the need for them to increase the price.
It's possible.
I just said that, Pete.
He said it more succinct and prettier. That's all.
I couldn't tell if it was you or Umber, bro. Like, I couldn't tell the difference, brother.
You couldn't tell, huh? You couldn't tell.
So as Sick is pointing out, he's saying that Q2 is when the ABK deal will be situated. So that's what, June right there, Sick? I see the game prices possibly going up then. I don't see any possible way they would raise the price for the console. It just doesn't make sense for them. I think they're going for that. They want to keep that value proposition. It made no sense when Sony did it outside of just getting money. But I just don't see them doing that for consoles. Gaming and Game Pass makes sense for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we might also get Ubisoft Plus or something like that. If you give us Ubisoft plus those games, quality games, I can definitely reason out giving $20 a month for a subscription.
Yeah, see, I could reason out giving a bit more, to be honest with you. And I mean, a lot of people might say, I gotta say that I'm capping. But on this one, I'm really not. Like, I've been waiting for this to happen. It's been a long time coming. Game Pass has given ridiculous value. We are spoiled rotten. I think, honestly, to be dead honest with you guys, I think that $20 now for what Game Pass offers, I would pay that. Now, when it comes to the first-party games, you guys are talking about bringing in Activision Blizzard. You're talking about bringing in Ubisoft Plus. I think, like, right now, $20 would be fair. I think when they start bringing their AAA games in, first-party games, that $20 would be fair. It's possible they might have a tier. Obviously, look, I would say to you guys in the chat, it's not conjecture whether they are going to raise the prices. They are going to raise the prices, likely, of the games. I don't think the console either, likely of Game Pass. And so I would just get ahead of that where you can. But look, I'm going to move on to the next topic, or maybe we'll come back if anyone's got anything else to add. But before I do, guys, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And before I move any further on, I had a bit of a chat with Shooter before the show, just up on screen there. He wanted to say a big thank you. He's been overwhelmed these last 4+ weeks with all the inquiries into his old ticker problems. So it makes this old fart feel so grateful to such a great community. Thank you to you all. Yeah, and the community is absolutely amazing around all of us, and we really appreciate you. And it's great to see everyone reaching out to Shooter and just checking on how he's going. Yeah, and absolutely hit him up in the chat, and he's pretty open, and he'll let you know how he's doing. So Shooter, man, we hope that you get what you need ASAP, and that your surgeon recovers so you can get in there and get it sorted. And we are pulling for you, man. But you're a tough old bastard, so you'll be fine. Now, moving back to this, I'll just say one last thing. $20 ain't much. I don't think if anyone's going to complain about $20, and what you're going to see in the community is people going, "Oh, it's all right for PlayStation to, for Xbox to raise prices, but when Microsoft does it, that's fine." So this is what I'm going to say to that before that narrative even starts, because it's going to start. 2K raised the prices first. Everyone disagreed with it. The entire community wasn't happy about that. PlayStation raised their prices. Half the community still remained unhappy about that. The other half of the community, because they feel that they need to cap for a corporation, praised PlayStation for raising prices and quality games. Look, and a lot of I've been asked as well, hey, why do you give it to Sony so hard for raising prices? It's 2K first. Because Sony's an industry leader. They set a standard. Now that they've set a standard, that's what's going to happen in the industry. You don't see it on PC because they don't lead the industry on PC. Steam does. And their games are $60. PlayStation leads the industry in console gaming, and they've now set a standard, and everyone will follow. And that should never be backed. Now, when it comes to raising the price of Game Pass, of games, I understand it. I don't back it. Okay, I completely understand why they're doing it. It does make business sense, but I don't want them to do it. I'm a fucking consumer. I don't want to pay more money for anything, ever, at any point, even if it does have extra value. So that's my stance on it. Just didn't want anyone to get me wrong and say, hey, you're backing this. I ain't backing it. That's definitely not what's happening here, but I can see it's going to happen, and I understand the reasoning for it. You guys got anything else to add on Game Pass or Xbox raising their prices?
I'm going to stick my neck out and say they're not going to do it.
Oh my God. Pete's knees are gone. They are gone.
They'll put the price of games up. Game Pass won't go up. It'll stay at the same rate, at least for another year.
Not going to happen.
Yeah.
Not going to happen. Sorry, Ambra.
I'm not sure which will come first. Like I said, I feel like gaming will happen first because of the APK thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it just makes more sense that after that goes through, that they'll raise the price up to 70. And if Starfield is delayed the way it is, there probably will be some announcement that it goes up to 70. I could see that being the catalyst that really changes it. It would make the most sense. I'm not sure when they'll do Game Pass, but if they do gaming first, then I would say, yeah, a year out, maybe Game Pass will go up too.
Yeah, and it does make sense to raise prices when you get things like Fallout 4 receiving a 4K 60 FPS update for free on both consoles. This is something, not only that, they're offering you extra content. This is all for free. And it's just a stark contrast to what we've seen with PlayStation, where they've done basically a remake. Now, don't get me wrong, Fallout 4 is one of those games that has been it has been FPS boosted, but when you boost that game, it drops the resolution down to 1080p. So look, this is a welcome update. I love to see it. It's great to see Microsoft doing, giving out basically free content. They don't have to do this. They can just continue moving on to other IPs. And maybe some people think they should, but it's great to see. I never finished Fallout 4. I only played it for a little bit. I would come back to it for this. I'm pretty happy with it. Mr. Bushido, do you think you'll be running back through Fallout 4 anytime soon after this update?
I don't know. I really did enjoy Fallout 4. The only problem I had was every 15 minutes, the colony was under attack. I remember I spent like half a day getting enough resources and just fortifying every colony like it was a military base. And it was still hit me up saying that the colony was under attack. And I was like, sometimes I'm like, look, you guys are going to have to learn to take care of yourself and get there and the place is decimated. So besides that, though, yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I may. It's 50-50, but I did enjoy it, though. I love all the Fallout games. And
you don't think it was just poor management, Bushido? You don't think it was just poor management on your side with the colonies? Just asking. I don't know. I'm just asking. You don't think? Yeah.
That sounds like a loaded question there, but no, I don't. No, I don't think it was the case.
Do you think?
I didn't like the building aspect of Fallout 4 either, mate. I didn't like it. I didn't like my base being attacked all the time. I actually didn't really enjoy Fallout 4 as much as I thought I would. I think that they made a big misstep in making that game PG. I don't know how you make a game that's set in a post-apocalyptic world, that's meant to be dark and dingy and the worst of humanity, something like akin to the Pit in Fallout 3. I think that's when it was at its best. I think New Vegas is when Fallout is at its best. I think that was a big misstep. A very big misstep. I know that it was a higher up decision made by ZeniMax and not so much by Todd Howard and the team. I hope that they go back to M-rated games. I don't think that it really... it must affect the figures. It must, otherwise they wouldn't have done it. But I probably won't go back to Fallout 4. I would rather them spend the time on focusing on Starfield, Elder Scrolls, and Fallout 5. We were talking about this on KY Bob's show. The projection for getting Fallout 5 has gone into the 2029-2031 region. It's just too long. They need to either increase the size of the team that they have at Bethesda or allow another team to work on the franchise.
Yeah,
that's the thing, bro. That's the thing, though. Like, that's why I'm all for it. I'm all for them. For one, I feel like all of those games should get a remaster or remake. Something like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout New Vegas. If they did that over an Unreal Engine 5, put a quality team on it that can do that, kind of like Sony does, that would be spectacular, man. I would 100% be behind that. But like Pete said, yeah, you're going to have to put a quality team behind it. And I think that they'll have to do that. And they've already spoke on that with Obsidian as far as the whole Fallout taking on Fallout 5. So it's a way to get around it. But like you said, if they don't do that, the 2029-30 situation just might be the case.
Yeah.
Risky, I think you're about to ask something.
Yeah, look, do you think it's wasted development time? As much as I like to have it, I think it's wasted development time. And look, someone did say, I think it was on KY's show, that it probably only took a team of 2 or 3. I think it was Powerman 4K, 2 or 3 to to do it. I tend to think the team might have been a little bit larger, and I also tend to think that those people could have been better spent elsewhere. Look, they're not charging for it, and I respect that. It's a great thing to give to the community. One other thing is I wouldn't mind Xbox being a little bit petty and just redoing it for the Xbox. However, I also think might be a little bit of a move or a signal to the CMA to say, hey, hang on a minute, we're supporting Bethesda games on PlayStation 5 still. So, remember when Bethesda, when the CMA said, there's no Bethesda games on the PlayStations. Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Shows how poor their research was. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, but yeah, I don't know. Like I feel on this situation here, if they can get quality teams, that's the caveat, as you like to say nowadays, Risk. That's the caveat.
Yeah,
if they can go ahead and get other teams on on this right here, I think that would be the best thing to go with. And like I said, Obsidian, they're for it. So there is no reason not to do it. Just make it work. I mean, they have the people willing to do it. Microsoft has the budget. You have the IP. It's there. Just do it. And you can have Obsidian work with them.
But they've got the Outer Worlds 2, which is incredibly successful franchise, which I think will even be more successful when they get the money behind it. They've got Avowed. They've got Pentiment. They've got Grounded. I would like them to work on... I don't know. I don't know. It's very difficult because I see Obsidian as going to be one of the preeminent developers, and I think one of the best, book buys that they got. I see them as the Insomniac of the Xbox developers. I don't know if I want them to focus on Fallout.
Pete, are you actually in the toilet right now? I know you said you were going to do it, but it sounds like
no. I'm not.
Said he's shitting on these topics. I ain't got time for this. Shitting on these topics today.
No, I'm making a coffee. I got up to the kitchen.
I got you.
That's the Australian version of saying I'm taking a shit. I'm making a coffee.
Just heading to the outdoor. Look, we'll move on to the next topic, which is kind of related when I talk about development time being wasted. But before I do, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new, welcome, guys, who've supported us from day one. Welcome back. You guys are absolute champions. You do power the show. Thank you very much. We're very close to 1,000 subscribers, which is pretty exciting for me. I never thought I would get there, but we have gotten there. We're nearly gotten there. Look, I'll move on to the next topic, and it's one that's kind of pissed me off, to be honest. I'm not happy about it. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is coming to console in January 31st, 2023. Age of Empires has been officially announced as coming to console in 2023. They haven't given a date. Now, this comes in a year. When we've had no first-party AAA releases for Xbox. This would have been a perfect game to just port across. And what bothers me here is you've been working on a definitive edition, and the guys who make Age of Empires 4 is a third-party studio. They've probably brought in more help, but I would love to have seen that help go to making the port for Age of Empires 4. I've wanted that game. I want to play it. A lot of people maybe don't want it. But just optics-wise, it would have been a much better decision to bring this release to Xbox and give us at least some sort of cadence, some sort of caveat. Love it. I love that word. So that we actually have a first-party AAA game that is for Xbox on the Xbox instead of being on PC. It doesn't make any sense to have done a definitive edition Age of Empires 2. Thimba, absolutely, yeah, it does come on January 31st, 2023. Did I say 23? I didn't mean to. It's January 31st, 2023. And we still don't... Here's the more bothersome part for me is that we don't have a date for Age of Empires 4, what is going on with that game. And I know that there's some people that disagree with this, but I don't care. Put a game on a console without controller support and work on the controller support while you can. I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't have a mouse and keyboard, you can't play it. You can't play it. That's all good. No one can play it now. But what about the people who have a mouse and keyboard with an Xbox?
With that
well, I know because you don't like mouse and keyboard, and that's absolutely fine. And you don't have one, and I get it. But for the people that do have mouse and keyboard and do play RTSs with mouse and keyboard, there's no reason to not bring this other than just optics. And the optics are already bad because you haven't given us the goddamn game in 2022 like you should have. Pete, you wanted to say something?
There is a reason that you won't do that, because the people that might want to try an RTS, like me, that don't really get into them because they don't like how, they're very PC focused and their keyboard and mouse. Well, I like to play on sticks. I like to play on a controller. If the game comes to Xbox and it doesn't support controller, then I think you're just going to do the game a disservice. You're going to, those people that might have tried it out, if you get that controller support done right, I think you'll get a lot more people try it out. If you bring it to the game later, you lose that whole momentum that you get from Twitter and YouTube and everybody talking about it, and people just won't go back to it, especially with the amount of content that we're going to be getting. That is just a bad way of looking at it. It's a selfish way of looking at it. I get that you want the game. I get that you're incredibly excited for the game, but if you're going to do it right at the start.
Yeah, look, I don't think I'm going to go back on that. I don't think it's selfish at all. And what you're saying is in some ways true, but it's all about how you handle the marketing. And so if they were to release it with keyboard and mouse support and say controller support coming in 2023, and then when controller support came, they really smashed it with the marketing and said controller support's here. It's like here for you if you want to do it. Again, we like to talk about having options. It just gives people options, and that's what I want to see.
Games have a very limited marketing budget, so what you're gonna blow that budget twice to market it again to the same people, to the same crowd, just to get the controller support. I can't see it, mate.
Yeah, but there's ways and means of getting that information out there that will market it to people and get it to the right people. And those who are excited, like people like us, creators on YouTube, will do marketing for you as well. That's something else that could be. But Bushido, look, I'll go to you. What do you think about bringing games to console without control support?
I'm partially with Pete with this because I don't think it's selfish though, but I think it's you're doing the game a disservice to a degree. But if you let people know that that's what's going to be coming, I think it's a good idea. But when it comes down to it, you're going to have to really make sure whatever you do when it comes to marketing with it, let's say, like Pete said, you're not going to blow, you're marketing on it twice. And that's a good point. And you made another good point when you said that there's other ways of doing it. And the first thing that popped in my head was on Xbox. You know how they always have the little advertising thing in the home screen on the right or the left. For a few months, you could have that there saying that you have mouse and keyboard coming for the game. So now you don't have to necessarily have a bigger budget or excuse me, the same budget to go out and advertise the same game. But at the same time, like I said, you don't want to do it a disservice, but I think that the main people who want to play on mouse and keyboard will already be there. And I think that the ones who want to try it like me, they're going to want to wait for the controller. I heard Pete say sticks. That's an old head expression because I said that once before. Someone was like, "You mean controller?" And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." But I think that's the case. I think most of us are going to want to wait for it to be on a controller, and I think there are ways of getting around advertising both times.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I'll just jump to Tacticus. Kilgore, thank you for proving my point. He said he's buying a mouse and a keyboard just for this game. You can stay. Welcome to the channel. Never leave.
Stay.
Oh.
He's
disagreed with him so much. He was like, I've had enough.
He's done with it. I'm down. God.
I'm out of here. What's up, Boom? Thanks, brother. I see that.
I'm sure he'll be back as soon as he possibly can. He's probably just dropped out. Umbra, what are your thoughts? Well, Pete's not here. Let's really give it to... Damn it! What are your thoughts on mouse and keyboard? Releasing games with mouse and keyboard. What are your thoughts on this missed opportunity? Even releasing it with controller, they could have done it this year. You can't tell me they can't get their shit together and get controller support happening in 2022. The game's been out for a year.
I mean, the thing is like the one that they're going to release is the definitive version of part 2 at first. So It's not like part 4 is coming immediately. They say that's coming later in the year, next year. So to consoles at least. So part 2 is going to be the first one that we get in January 23rd on next year. So I don't know. I don't know how long that process takes for them to do what they do to transition these things to controller support. But I am of the mind with you on this risk. And I would say we are more in the minority, though, to be fair. Tactus, Kilgore, myself, you, and those like us who would try an RTS out. Typically, is going to be people who are probably already into those types of things that are going to be fine with it being keyboard and mouse. Since I have a PC and I have a keyboard and mouse, it's not a thing for me to just connect that to my Xbox if I want to try this experience out and say, let me try this. Okay, I have a mouse and keyboard. Let me do that. Plug and play, no problem. But I think the overwhelming majority, are probably going to want to use their controller. So I do get where Pete and Bushido are coming from with that. I don't know about it being a disservice or anything like that or anything of that nature. But, for those who are really into RTSs, you're going to use a keyboard and mouse. I think those who are more new to it or barely play RTSs like that, they would want the option of using a controller. And it would behoove, I keep going back to behoove, it would behoove Microsoft to allow options like that anyway, just because of console gamers are just not used to using keyboard and mouse. So you got to give them that option. Like I said, I don't know. I don't understand the process of them transitioning things over. I'm not like the biggest RTS lover here, so I do want to give it a chance. And I probably will. I'm going to test out both. I'm going to test out the controller and the keyboard and mouse, just to see how authentic it feels on the console. But I can see why it would take them so long to do what they're doing. I'm not mad at it. And by the way, 2023, as far as January, is going to be pretty stacked for Game Pass too. So I don't know. It's a win-win all around to me. And they still have part 4 part 4 coming out next year on the console too. So
yeah, but they haven't given a date. Like, it goes to Microsoft's management of their gaming studios. It really, really does. That would have been.
I don't know, man. I mean, they're not one of the people who run at World's End, I believe, right? They're not. They're pretty solid studio. So I don't think it's a mismanagement thing. I think it's just the transitioning of what they're doing to move that thing to console the proper way. I don't think they want to rush anything and mess anything up. And I haven't heard about any technical issues when it comes to Age of Empires, so I don't know. I mean, you would know more in that field than I would on Age of Empires because I never really played it like that. But I don't think they've had any issues when it comes to the tech side of things, right? So I think they just want to keep up that that pedigree of turning in properly tuned games. I think that's all it comes down to. And like I said, that transitioning from keyboard to mouse to controller for RTSs. Many people have told me before it was an impossibility before, it used to be an impossibility that we would even expect to get an RTS on console. So to transition from that to getting it, within a year's time or whatever, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, look, I would just like to see PC and Xbox, as seeing as they've become more synonymous with, with each other. I think it'd be really good to have a parity of the games that you get here that you can get on console, and we can get those RTSs on the console day one. And again, Pete, like you said, don't you think, I have to ask you, I mean, think about when they've already released on PC and they've dropped a marketing budget on that. So, why does it make sense for them to release on PC and then release on console so much later? Would have made more sense to keep the game under wraps and release both at once to drop that marketing budget and really hit home. So, yeah, I find it odd that Microsoft is doing this. And if they're going to do it this way and they're not going to have a parallel, then I think that they should just give people the options. And when the price of entry is a $6, hang on a minute. When the price of entry is a $6 keyboard, because you could literally get a $5 keyboard, $6 keyboard, that's Australian, that's $2.50 in America, and play the game. I don't know, man.
That's not the problem. People not having a mouse and keyboard is not the problem. You can pick one up for nothing. The problem is people don't want to play on a mouse and keyboard. That's why they play on a console. It's a plug and play thing. The marketing thing is, yes, they spend a little bit of money on marketing, no doubt, but most of the marketing is done from the community, like people like ourselves who shout it out through podcasts, the amount of people that play on Twitch, you know, the marketing they get from free promotions. All that will die down significantly if you do a second launch.
Yeah, but they've already. This is the thing. That's what I'm saying to you, Pete. It wouldn't be a second launch; it'd be a third launch. That's why I'm saying there should be more, equidistant lines drawn between PC and between Xbox. They've already done this. So what you're saying is what they've done already is a bad move, and I'm agreeing with you. Because they shouldn't release on PC day one and then not release on Xbox, and vice versa.
Well, I heard there is a process to convert those controls like that. I do hear that it's a lengthy process.
Mhm.
So that could probably be the reason why you just don't want to delay it on PC, I guess.
And there are very few games that have done it right, Bushido. And if you do it right, it can be incredibly successful. If you do it wrong, the game doesn't do very well at all.
Yeah, well, look, all I'm saying, I don't want to harp on this for too long. I think we already have, but all I'm saying is, like, give us some parallels between Xbox and PC. It seems to be, and as you said earlier on, Pete, they're going to support console, but it seems to be more recently in recent times that PC has been getting games that console doesn't, as opposed to the other way around. And I kind of feel like the console players should be taken care of first. We were the first into the damned ecosystem. You wouldn't have one if it wasn't for us. Give us the damn games. Sorry.
I do get where you're coming from with that. Parity, that's not a bad thing to want. So I definitely get where you're coming from with it. But it's just it's just one of those things. It's not like they wouldn't want to do it. It's just one of those things where that's how it works out.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger base is PC, so
yeah. I forgot something I was gonna say. I lost my track.
Well, it's a beautiful segue talking about controllers. We'll move into the next topic, but before we do, guys in the chat, you've been absolutely fantastic. Welcome, all of you, absolute champions. We've had Mr. Boom in the chat, KJ, Red Wolf, Thimber Toolman, all of you, Scotsy, all of you guys, Assassin. I can't name you all. I'm just flicking up the list right now. You guys are absolute champions. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. The cost of the Sense Edge is absolutely out of control, ridiculous. In Australia, I think it's $330-something versus the Xbox's, I think it's $250 or $279 custom. If you get a custom Elite controller and you put all the bits and bobs, you name, colored sticks, you name it, you go to town on that and customizing that controller, it still comes in a ridiculous amount, a good $50 Australian, maybe possibly, I have to do the math, but I haven't. It's $50, $60 cheaper than the Edge, and the Edge can't and doesn't do half of what the Xbox Elite does. Isn't as customizable as what the Xbox Elite is. These guys are taking the piss. And look, if you look at the pricing, and Sony's offering is priced at £239.99. And then when you look at Microsoft, up to £159. That's absolute madness. I honestly was astounded. I don't think anyone's going to be buying it except for these diehard people or people who just got money to burn. Pete, what do you think? Speaking of controllers and the love of controllers, what do you think of these sticks?
Look, I haven't had hands on, so I don't actually know what the build quality is going to be like. I don't know how much better it is going to be than the regular PlayStation controller. In saying all that, nothing is worth $330. No controller is worth $330. The closest controller that's going to be worth that is the Xbox Elite controller at $250, and I've held off on that because I think it's too expensive. I think that it's just too much to play with for a controller. I think it's disgusting, the pricing of this peripheral, and I just don't understand how Sony can think that they can get away with something like this. I mean, what is this thing made out of? Is it made out of gold flakes? I just don't get it. But Umbra, do you know how much it's going to be in the States? Because I know there's a lot of taxes and stuff like that when it comes to the Australian market. I haven't seen an American price yet.
Yeah, for the DualSense here, that'll be $200 plus, so $200 plus tax. I think in Europe it's $239.99.
And
So
how is that
it's
equivalent
pretty
to the
expensive.
Series controller?
For us, for the core, it's 129.99.
Wow,
So
so a
that's what
significant difference. Okay.
pretty much. Yeah. And the thing I have an issue with, for one, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I have the DualSense. I have two of them, right? Uh, no salt, no shade to anybody, not to Sony, not to the gamers or whatever. I just don't think it's that good of a controller. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I think it's okay. For whatever reason, I still prefer the DualShock 3. I don't know what it is exactly, but then those thumbsticks that they're parallel, they don't feel as good to me as the offset thumbsticks with the Xbox controller. That's one. So that's one strike for me. Two, I think the form factor for the Xbox controller is just perfect. I don't think you can get a more perfect design overall. And I have manly man hands, you know what I mean? So that works for me. You know, the not the aesthetics, but the ergonomics for that is just, to me, it's just perfectly. Now the core, I will say, is lacking certain things, right? You can buy that for $60, I believe. So like the interchangeable thumbsticks and the paddles and the D-pad, stuff like that, and the dock and the USB cable, you can get that for $60 extra. So that would bring it up to it, you know what I mean? But if you don't get that, you're good. You're good to go. But one thing is, the thing about that is you can use that controller on PC or Xbox. That's the beautiful thing about Xbox, that they allow you to use everything going forward everywhere. However, we don't have any solid information with the DualSense. We don't know if it'll work on PC. I'm gonna guess that it might. It would make sense,
Yeah,
but there's no solid
it will.
information saying that it
It
will.
will.
You know,
It will.
I believe it will. It would be pretty dumb if they did that. So I don't think Sony is that dumb, or at least that anti-consumer, that they will do such a thing. But we know for a fact that the elite is you doubted Bushido. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think it's no boundary they wouldn't cross.
I want to go to you, Bushido, but I wanted to also hit on another point that I think that where the DualSense is lacking, and they've been incredibly, though they haven't put any information out about it, but because they haven't said anything, we can read into that nothing has changed. Well, that's the way I see it, and it's that battery life. The battery life of a $330 controller hasn't been
Point.
improved, but would this be something that you would be interested in, Bushido? Could you see yourself paying that much for peripheral?
I love everything, electronic gaming or whatever. Always want the new whatever. I like the way it looks, but I'm with you with it. Like, I don't know what it feels like. I don't know if it's still like a regular DualSense with just some peripherals that can be changed. Like, I'm just, and I don't use it enough anyway for me to use that kind of controller. Now, I will admit, I am a controller snob now. I can't play without my Elite 2. I really can't. If I can't find my Elite 2, which I make sure I can now, but if I couldn't find it, I would look all around for until I found it. So this shows I do like those types of controllers, but I think that, and the answer, the reason why I said is because Sony would charge their fans whatever, and their fans will praise it. I've seen people say they're going to buy it. And so, I mean, it's nothing wrong. Hey, look, if that's what your value is for it, that's what your value is for it. Me personally, I ain't spent $300 for no controller. I'm just not.
These are the same people that are saying that the Xbox Elite Series 2 was too expensive.
Too
So
expensive.
yeah,
Yep.
the
Oh,
double
true.
standard of the Hooven clan is
The Hooven clan.
knows no bounds. But for me personally, there's no way I'm going to spend $330 on a controller. Not when the PlayStation itself is $800. I mean, it's almost half the price. It's an absolute disgrace. Risk it. Are you back, mate? Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
what
agree
we'll
with you
do
guys
is
there.
we will have a really, really, really bad segue into The Witcher 1, The Witcher 1 being remade. So yeah, look, news of that dropped. I couldn't be happier. Up until now, it's only been on PC. I think it's going to be completely remade in Unreal Engine 5. I couldn't be happier. What are your thoughts, Umbra?
Yeah, my mic muted. My bad. Yeah, I'm excited, man. No, I'm like actually very, very excited about that. For one, I was already excited to hear the news when they gave us the entire like decade worth of layout of what they'll be doing, and I thought it was just smart for CD Projekt Red to do such a thing. But now that hearing that they're going to remaster or at least remake this in Unreal Engine 5, I think it's just smart as hell. Capitalize on that franchise and that IP all the way. I've never played part one. I actually own part two, but never actually got into that either. So I'm going to guess that the other one is part two being remade in Unreal Engine 5. It only makes sense that it would be part two as well, the other one. So that makes complete sense for me. Or they could be waiting to see how this goes with this one and to see if they're going to do part two as well. But yeah, Unreal Engine 5, Witcher 1, probably in a play style of The Witcher 3. Yes. Sign me up. I don't see any downside.
Do you,
Yeah.
do you think that they did this specifically to learn Unreal Engine 5? Now, we do know that they're transitioning over to Unreal Engine 5 for The Witcher 4. Do you think that they're using this as a learning experience?
I think all of it comes down to being that part of that. I think it's part of the job. It's going to be a learning experience. I mean, the studio they have doing it, I forgot their name right now. Let me look that up to make sure. I've never really heard of them to be sure, but I
It is a
trust.
third party.
Yeah,
Just
I
want
do
to point that
trust
out.
as far as the CD Projekt Red goes. I do trust them on that part. I'm sure they did their research on that. But my thing is that I feel like they have this so well plotted out for the next decade. I don't think they're going to haphazardly put any team on it that wouldn't, be fit for it. And oh, there we go. We have some Witcher gameplay, so we know Riskit is back. But yeah, yeah.
It's Fool's
I feel
Theory.
like
It's Fool's Theory that's making the doing the remake. Yeah, they are a third party studio, and I think you're right. I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah, I think they're going to see how this one goes, and they're going to rock and roll with the second.
Yeah, and that's right. It's Fool's Theory. That's their name. They are a Polish studio as well. So they obviously are going to have hands-on with CD Projekt Red developers as well. They're going to be there to help them. So I have pure faith in them, 100%, honestly. And like I said again, Unreal Engine 5, Witcher 1, yeah, sign me up, 100%. Especially if they decide to make it open world and everything and approach it as they did The Witcher 3. Yeah, 100% behind that.
Yeah, I think it's a good move for CD Projekt Red. It's another revenue stream, and when you look at it as a business, you're pulling in a third party to build a game in Unreal Engine 5. Yet they did actually say, Umbra, so you're bang on right. They said that CD Projekt Red will be overseeing it, and I think it's smart for them to do that in house. And when I mean in house, I mean in country. So getting another Polish studio on helping to rebuild the game. My question is, my thoughts are, or my curiosity goes to, will they update the mechanics? Because I believe the mechanics are a little bit clunky. I haven't had a chance to play it myself.
They definitely are, mate. They're very clunky. They were just working on that dance style of combat, and it's a very clunky game. In fact, all Witcher games play extremely differently, all three of them.
So it'd be interesting to see if they port some of this Witcher 3 combat into the game. Do you think they'll do that, Pete?
I don't. I think it will just be a way for them to learn the Unreal Engine and forget to people to experience the story. Up until now, I said before that this game hasn't been on console, and the story is it's just amazing. It really, really is. And a lot of the characters so Witcher 2, a lot of the characters weren't in it because, he starts off with amnesia, so you don't really know on anybody. But a lot of the characters that you meet in Witcher 3 are actually introduced to you in The Witcher 1. So it'd be really good to go back and tell that story, that full story of how Geralt got to where he got to.
Yeah, look, I love The Witcher's lore. I have read the books. One of my best friends in the world is Polish, and he introduced me to it. And he doesn't really play a hell of a lot of games, but when The Witcher 3 came out, he didn't know it was coming out. I let him know. He borrowed my copy and completed the entire thing. Loved it, man. Said the lore was bang on. Everything was bang on with it. So, and I agree, man. After I played The Witcher 3, I read the books. I haven't completed Witcher 3. I'm waiting for that update. As soon as I get that update, I'll finish it. Now, I know, Bushido, that you hate The Witcher 3 and that you've been out there saying that they shouldn't remake it and it's one of the worst games ever made. So what are your thoughts on Witcher?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
speak
think it's
your
a bad
blasphemy.
move. Yeah, I think it's a bad move. Terrible game, terrible story. Everything's terrible. Nah, I really love remakes. I really do. People say, "I'll get tired of everybody remaking." Listen, there were some fantastic stories when we were playing the 360 era and the Xbox era, Xbox One. You know, we have some stories that I would love to see retold, especially for a younger audience. In my opinion, though, this is one of them. This is one of the better stories, and I don't care if it is considered to other people as a cash grab, but to me, I don't think this is going to be a PlayStation remake. I think it's going to be a real remake, Resident Evil remake type game. You know, where you put real, you really do build it from the ground up, and the game's got new mechanics and story and everything like that. So I have much faith that the game will be good, and I would love to, and I do believe that they're gonna do both. You can't tell me they wouldn't do both. I really do believe that they'll do both. So you'll see one, and then you'll see The Witcher 2, and I think they will revamp the combat. Yeah, I don't see why not, because the combat's a little linear. So you don't want
How
to, you
do
don't want
you
to.
how do you integrate the combat from The Witcher 3 into the very linear world of The Witcher 2, and saying that the very linear world of The Witcher 1, the a lot of the reason why they changed the combat into The Witcher 3 is because they introduced that open world into the actual game. I don't know if you can have that free flowing combat if you have that linear world. So that'd be a brand new game, basically.
Yeah, that's
This
what I
is
think it's
why
going to
I'm
be. Yeah,
hesitant on changing
yeah, I
it.
think it's
Yeah.
going to be a brand new game. I don't think it's going to be a
One-to-one
window dressing.
conversion.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
going to be nothing like a PlayStation remake. It'll be a real remake, like I said, Resident Evil 2 style, Resident
Yeah.
Evil 3 and 4, where everything's different. The story that we know of will be the same. It won't be this. It won't be played the same way. That's the only thing. But yeah, I think it'll be a completely different game, new combat and everything. And I don't think that the combat that people who have played the first one, because I didn't get a chance to play the first one either. People who played the first one and second one, I don't think neither the combat will be the same for either one of those two. I think it'll be just brand new, especially if you're going to start from the beginning. I don't see why you would go with either one of those older ways of combat back again.
I can't
Absolutely.
see it happening. I can't see them integrating that Witcher 3 combat into a
I
linear
think they'll
game.
just make it open
Solid.
world, Pete. I think they'll
Yeah.
just make it open world a
Wow.
bit. Probably linear,
Really?
but like
That's
to a degree
that's
as far as the story goes. But I think it'll be a small open
Oh,
world.
no, I
I
think
don't
it'll
think
be
it'll
open
be
world. Yeah, I think it'll be open world.
massive. But you think that they're actually going to make it open world? That's a massive
Yeah, I
change
think
to
so.
the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that
I'd
it's
love
going to
that.
be. I don't think it's going to be. I honestly don't think it's going to be open world. I'd love it to be. What I think they'll do is they'll update the combat. I really do think they'll change it, Pete. They'll update the combat to fit the linear world, but it won't be as clunky as it was. That's what I really think it was. But look, Pyro in the chat here, he has made a bit of a prediction. And it's a very interesting prediction. He said PlayStation Landscape 2026, the PS5 Plus Ultra is about to launch alongside a Toulouse Last of Us Collection upscale 8K, $89.99, a full quintology, a
Quintology.
full quintology of the Uncharted at 120, and a Ratchet and Clank Sly Collection upscaled to 4K at $99. I think it's pretty
Seems
accurate.
reasonable.
It's pretty
Seems
accurate.
reasonable. I was
Yeah,
going
it
to say
sounds
though,
about right.
my only way I can see it going otherwise, Pete, is if they're not going to go open world, they'll do it a hub world style, the way that like God of War does it, right? So whatever area you go to, it'll be open world in that sense. You know what I mean? It won't be quite open world. You just go to a whole overworld map, but you can go to that overworld section they're putting you in, and it'll be more open as far as that goes. That's the only way I can see it. That makes more sense, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, they might open it up a little bit and change a few things. You got to remember here as well, they can't port. They probably can't port this code in as is, and if they do port it in, a lot of it's going to be gutted. So it's almost like you may as well start from the ground up properly.
But
Start from the ground up.
That's what they did say, Risk. They did say they were
Mhm.
starting from the ground up. Yeah.
Oh yeah, It's a full remake.
But I mean, we've heard ground up before. I just wanted to make sure it was clear.
No, don't.
That's
the only
Sony.
we hear that. The only thing we hear with that's a lie constantly is PlayStation. They're the only ones that do that.
Yeah.
Nobody else does that to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we'll move on to the topic of the week. I tell you what, it is going to be a huge topic. You know, just as a caveat before. Just wanted to say caveat. It's not actually a caveat. Before I do, guys, please hit the like button, share us out, and subscribe if you're new here. If you are listening to us on Spotify, I drop that in Spotify usually by Monday. So thank you for listening on Spotify. We appreciate you guys as well. If you do get time, jump into YouTube and watch us live 8 p.m. EST every Friday. Look, Modern Warfare's dropped it. It's amazing. I know that IGN gave it a 6, and that's absolute craziness. There is a few issues with the game. 110%. You're gonna get booted. It's gonna happen. You're gonna get kicked out of lobbies. It was a struggle. We tried playing with one of my good friends on PlayStation last night. Yes, he is hooved. It is unfortunate. I've been trying for 15 years. It's just not working. But we were getting booted every 5 minutes, and it just became too frustrating. There is that. There is one other thing that is a serious issue. And it was one that they had with Modern Warfare 2019, and they patched it, and hopefully they patch it again. But there is no crossplay toggle for Xbox. There is a crossplay toggle on PC and on PlayStation. And the last time that there was they're not saying anything this time, but the last time they had crossplay toggle on PlayStation and not on Xbox, it was because of the marketing. PlayStation actually paid to keep that off of Modern Warfare 2019. I imagine it's much the same this time. I don't know for sure, so don't take that as read, but I think that they did patch it in later on. So it was the first 6 months, I believe, we went without a crossplay toggle, and then they patched one in. So look, I think that's probably the one negative that I've found. There's only one map that I don't like, which is the map with the cars all through it. If you lob a grenade, it's a guaranteed kill. All the cars blow up and just kill everyone standing around them. Everyone has to run to the tunnel. It's bullshit. That's the only map that I don't like. Otherwise, I'm having an absolute blast with this game. I am loving this game. It is absolutely amazing. 6. Thimba, please don't praise this game, or the CMA will use it in their arguments. Yeah, so 6 is a reasonable score. It's bang on. It's terrible. No, like 6 is ridiculous. This guy who reviewed the game, what are you expecting? And I'm going to say this again. I've said this a few times on Twitter. You don't go and buy a ticket to John Wick and expect groundbreaking. You don't expect groundbreaking, heartbreaking stories. That's not what you expect from John Wick. You expect John Wick to do action and to do it well. And that's what Call of Duty did with its campaign. It did action and it did it well. And with its multiplayer, it's doing action and it's doing it well. It's a little bit campy, but it's tactical. If someone's camping, creep around the back, shoot him in the head. Umbra, what are you thinking of what you're seeing? Because I know you don't quite have it, but I can feel that you are almost turned around and you're thinking about it.
Turn around every now and then. I'm sorry.
Is that
I am, man. I'm actually very impressed. For one, I love the 2019 campaign. So for me, Call of Duty, I use it squarely as a campaign thing. I don't care for the multiplayer. I don't care for the time to kill situation and everything like that. But from everything I've seen from you guys and all the praise I've heard almost universally from gamers, and all of our buddies who we congregate and talk with, it's nothing but praise and high remarks, man. So I think I might just go ahead and get into it. I might pick it up. The thing is, I have that $70 thing, so I might have to wait until a Black Friday situation to pick it up. But other than that, I think I will go ahead and pick it up. It looks great. I've seen some campaign footage. Thank you, Shooter. Thank you. See, Shooter has taste, Risky. You can learn something from my good brother, Shooter. But just to say, it looks spectacular. Yeah, but I think that from what I've seen, it looks spectacular. I saw that one section, Risky, where they were in a helicopter and a guy was upside down. I don't want to go further than that to spoil anything, but that looks really dope. I was like, and I agree with you 100%. I don't look at Call of Duty as, it needs to be this deep thing and break down the characters. No, it does not. That's not what this game is about. It's not what that lore of that world is about. It's high octane. It's supposed to be this. It's supposed to be more of a what's that director? Not a
John
what's
Woo?
that? Michael Bay. It's supposed to be more of a Michael
Yeah,
Bay-ish
yep.
kind of thing. So and that's what it delivers on. That makes sense. You know, they got beautiful set pieces, crazy set pieces. That's what it's supposed to be about. And I'm not asking them to deliver me Shakespeare. So, and that's the section right there with the helicopter that was just shot. I just saw it. But that's what I expect. So if they deliver that and it's a great campaign in that way, that's all I care about. And I've heard, by the way, the cinematics have somehow gotten even better than they were in the 2019 version, which is insane
they're amazing
to believe.
Yeah.
You
won't believe
it. 2009, I got to see it because the 2019 version had me like, wow. So I can only imagine how much greater it looks now. But I think I will now actually try to give it a chance. And now, you know what? I'll even give the multiplayer a chance this time. When I do get it, rather, not if. I will get it. It'll just be probably when that price goes down to my liking.
Well, look, don't forget as well, and don't forget, Umbra, as well, and you guys in the audience, if you're not into the multiplayer, that it does have co-op missions. I think it's got 3 of them currently. There's a rumor, I don't want to upset C-Steph and say it's more than a rumor, that this will be a 2-year development cycle. So it's possible we'll get zombies. It's almost definite we'll get more co-op missions. So if you're not a big PvP player, there's still something here for you in Modern Warfare. And I've tried those co-op missions. They are hard, but they are fun. Bushido, what are you thinking about what you're seeing from Modern Warfare?
Everything Umber just said is like ditto. Like, I'm going to wait till Black Friday. I definitely did. I see everybody playing it and enjoying it. I am a Call of Duty campaign guy. I've always loved their campaigns. Some of them are a little, especially World War I, World War II. I'm so sick of World War I and World War II. My next suggestion would be the Civil War, you know.
What?
Besides that,
it take 3 hours to load a weapon.
Finally, somebody pulled on to that.
Yes. You wait right there. Don't move. I'm gonna shoot you.
It's just messing, I tell you.
Boy, when I finish loading this thing up, I'm gonna shoot the hell out of you.
You wait. Governor, you stay right there, Governor. So I want to play it. Yeah, I want to play it. I want to get with the campaign and get in with you guys. I hear you guys getting murdered, so I figure you guys need help. So I'll I'll be glad to play. I know that Pete's tired of his back has got to be killing him from carrying you guys. So
yeah, I know it is tough carrying everyone above him on the leaderboard. When everyone's stacked up on top of you, the weight must become like absolutely crushing at some point, especially with some of those kill-death ratios that are up there that I've got. Jedi Knight, Peter, you have been playing the campaign, you have been playing the multiplayer, and you're trying to get through Plague's Tale, and this is like pulling you in 2 different directions. What do you think so far? What are your thoughts? Being as well, I just want the audience to know that Pete really wasn't a massive Call of Duty fan, Call of Duty player, so his view is fresh. It is not tainted by past Call of Duties. It is an absolutely fresh take on the game. What do you think, Pete?
I have played a little bit of Call of Duty. I played mostly Cold War because I think it reminds me a lot more of Halo. I do find myself struggling at times with the gameplay. The time to kill is ridiculously fast. Especially modes like this, like Domination, where you have set objectives. I find myself running into headlong into fire like I would in Halo. And that's just not the way to play Call of Duty. You have to camp. If you don't camp, you get destroyed. It's a little bit infuriating. In saying that, I've had so much fun playing with you guys. I mean, I've been staying up to ridiculous hours just because it's just a very, very fun game to play, especially with friends. I'm not sure who mentioned it in the chat, but there's also raids coming. And that's what I'm incredibly excited for. I love co-op gameplay. I love playing with friends. I prefer PvE. So raids are something that I'm really, really looking forward to. I haven't got that much into the campaign because I just want to wait and finish Plague Tale first. But Look, as soon as the show's over, most likely I'll be getting on and playing some more Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Yes, it's infuriating at the moment that you're getting kicked all the time. It was even more infuriating playing with someone on PlayStation yesterday because the game chat was broken and we basically got kicked every, second match if we could get into a match. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it and I'm looking forward to get a little bit better.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to you getting better as well. It's been really tough. Look, I'll also add the guy that we played with on PlayStation last night. He's saying to us, he's a West Australian. I actually know him from my real life, past life. He was the best man at my wedding, actually. We were talking, and he went to get a copy. He likes physical editions, so he went to get a physical edition. He called up 2 really big stores over here in Australia. I don't know if you have them anywhere else, but JB Hi-Fi, he called them up before work to check if they had copies, and they had full copies. They had a ridiculous amount of copies at both stores. When he finished work, I believe it was an 8-hour shift, he called them up again to see if they had copies. He was going to head down and grab one. One of the stores had sold out, and the other store only had a few copies left. So this game is selling like hotcakes, guys. It's going to be absolutely stacked in the servers. You got a bit of time, but I absolutely advise you guys to go down to the store, jump on the Microsoft Store, however it is you consume your games, and get a copy of this. It's absolutely amazing. Don't miss out.
I just wanted to say that it was Red Wolf that pointed out the raid, so thank you, Red Wolf. And if you're living in Australia and you go down to Hungry Jack's and you order a Baconator meal, you get a free skin for Call of Duty.
Yeah, I tried that, right? On the 26th that released. I went down there. I got an Uber. I got my damn burger meal, and then they didn't send me my code. So I rang them up. I said, you haven't given me my code. They said, oh, sir, you'll have to come down and get it. I got down there. They didn't know what I was talking about. She tried to hand me a Coke. I'm like, no. Code. I'm like, code. She's like, what are you talking about? So I was like, all right, look, check this out. So I showed her the website. And she goes, she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have it like at the moment. I was like, cool. Then she tried to hand me the Coke again. I'm like, no, I don't want the Coke.
She's like, you're gonna take this Coke. That's what you want to do.
Nothing.
Yeah, look, there was something.
Did you end up getting your code, Risket, or you still haven't got it?
Still haven't got it. I'm just gonna get another meal. Like, I'm not fat enough, so let's ramp it up. But look, we are going to move on to the next topic. Before we do, welcome T-Easy to Goat. How you doing, man? Red Wolf, Pyro, Random Guy, EBJB, Truly, Palpatine, Toolman, Boba Fett Gaming, Scotty Timber, KJ, all you guys that support us every week, week in and week out. Shooter, the mods, you guys are absolute champions. Grey Monad. Guys, thank you so much for all of your support. Please hit the like button. Share us out. If you're new, subscribe. If you're on Spotify, welcome. Come by the show on YouTube, 8 p.m. EST every Friday. We go live on my channel. You can find it. It's in the description. Look, there's been a little bit of talk, and we'll move into this just briefly. I wanted to cover this. A little bit of talk about this generation may become the 30 FPS generation. Because there's bottlenecks with, the Series S, which is not true. We're not going to get into that. We know that it's not the Series S. We know it's not a potato. We know that if there is bottlenecks, they exist on PC. They don't exist on the consoles. But something very interesting came out from Digital Foundry, and it was them who was conjecting about whether it was going to be a 30 FPS generation. Well, they've kind of come out and said that that's not really going to happen because what was going on with Gotham Knights is something they really haven't seen, or you don't see very often, is the CPU is not being fully utilized, but it is being maxed out. So the game is extremely CPU heavy, which is not what you usually see with bottlenecks. The bottlenecks usually come from the GPU, and it's graphical. So the CPU handles the logic of the game. It'll feed the information to the GPU from the SSD and back around its whole ecosystem thing. I'm not a tech guy, but look, it's just my understanding. This is really weird. So listen, at the end of the day, what this means is Gotham Knights is, as we've been saying, extremely poorly optimized. They're not utilizing the CPU fully. They're not utilizing even half of, or at times they are, but mostly not even half of the GPU. This game was built poorly. And so when developers come out and blame a Series S or blame bottlenecks, it's just not the case. It's not what's happening. It's not the truth. Pete, you got a chance to check this video out. In fact, you found the video and sent it on through to us. Really informative, dude. I watched it last night. I appreciate it, man. It really did cover everything, covered the gamut and the whys and wherefores of why Gotham Knights is so poorly runs so poorly on PCs as well as consoles. So what are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to see more 30 FPS games, or you think it's just optimization and that these devs are going to get their heads around it? Also, remember, and I'm not going to get started on FSR, but remember, none of the tools in either the PlayStation 5 or the Xboxes are being utilized by these developers yet. So, Pete, what do you think?
Yeah, look, I think that the developers of Gotham Knights should be ashamed of themselves. To be honest, I don't know how you can put out a game that is this broken. Oh, look, I'm going to quantify that. I don't think it's the developers. I think it's the people that are making the executives that are making the decision to put out a game that's not ready yet because they want to push it out for the Christmas period. And look, it's all about money at the end of the day, but this game is going to suffer because of it. So I've spoken to a lot of people about this game, KJ, Dev, a lot of Dealer, a lot of them are actually really liking the game, but they've bought it on PC, or well, not in KJ's sake, but just to play it at 60. I think that this game should have waited. I think that they needed to get rid of the last generation version earlier. I think they got rid of it 2 months ago. In terms of the GPU, at any one given time, I think it's only using like 50%. But it's not even touching. It's not even touching the GPU. It's completely a CPU issue, and I just don't know how the game can be so poorly optimized. We all know that the CPU and in the Series S and Series X is the same, and they're incredibly powerful compared to last generation. They are very, very capable. There's absolutely nothing wrong with them. And one of the best things about the Series S is it is using the same CPU as the Series X. So yeah, there's absolutely no problem in terms of these machines. They're being incredibly underutilized. This game, the only reason this game's at 30 because it lacks optimization. I wouldn't worry about getting other 30 FPS games. I think that this is going to be, one of those ones that, is going to be not the norm. It's going to be the exception, not the norm. Yeah, and look, I hope that's the case. I didn't buy an $800 console to play 30 FPS.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think anyone did. Mr. Bushido, do you think we're going to be seeing more 30 FPS games? Of course, there'll be a couple. But do you think it's going to become the norm? Something else that kind of came up with the guys on the previous podcast that I guested on this morning, shout out to Ashtray and Gamers Initiative, is that should you be charging, and well said, Shooter, should you be charging the premium price if you're not getting what we consider to be at least next-gen features like 60 FPS or a toggle to switch backwards and forwards? Mr. Bushido.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just catching my breath and inhaling as I'm thinking. I think that it is more of fear-mongering because somebody's always trying to be the first to be on top of something. And the minute you get someone to either say something, get to be the one, see first, quote, they always want to be prophetic and then make a statement like, we're going to get more 30 frames per second games. And here's this mysterious source that they use. And the source isn't even real, more than likely. But to see it usually say, we're definitely going to get 30 frames per second games. I don't think so. I think it's just fear mongering. I think it's just one of those things too. It's a slow game in, a few months. So news cycles, I just don't think so. I don't think so. I really don't. I think that's just what's going on with this particular game, especially when you start to get used RDNA2, full RDNA2, UE5, and when teams really get to know those systems, I don't think that at all. I don't think there's just an anomaly. We still will see some maybe next year, maybe two, because those are older games that were part of the process in the last 5, 7 years of being made. So you might still see those come through, but after that, I don't think so at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that they should be charging that premium price?
No,
Mhm.
no. If we're not getting that, and I'm not. Listen, I'm one of those guys who like ray tracing and have a thing for ray tracing. But if you're not getting things like that, ray tracing and 60 frames per second, 120, I'm not. Me personally, I don't think that's. I don't think it's worth it. Then I don't think it's fair to have us pay more for what we aren't getting at all. I just don't think it's fair.
Yeah.
So so more than likely, that's why was one of the things too. I'm hoping will keep Xbox from raising the prices this soon. But yeah, I don't think it's fair at all.
No, absolutely not. I completely agree. I don't know if you guys are watching on the screen, but some of these guys can move unnaturally fast. It's really odd. I wonder if this crossplay toggle shouldn't be getting utilized a lot more quickly. Umbra, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see 30 FPS games become the norm? Do you think the Series S is bottlenecking the entire generation? And should we be charged $70 for games that can't even hit the 60 FPS mark?
Yeah, for those three things. I don't think Digital Foundry said that for nothing. And I think that sometimes when the sacrifice for the fidelity that we want for our next gen games, I think developers are probably thinking, oh, we got to give them the visuals, when probably giving us the specs and the tech would be the smarter move, right? Uh, I think we probably will see a few. I don't think it'll be the norm necessarily, because I think it'll be enough fan outcry where we're like, nah, we need our 60 frames per second. Uh, More often than you will have those that accept the 30. But again, it falls on us as gamers. If we're going to be what's the word I'm looking for? If we're going to be content with, yeah, if we're going to be content with getting 30 frames per second pretty games, you know what I mean? I think that's what they're going to settle for. It is what it is. We set the pace for what they do ultimately. But the problem is we all didn't pay, like Pete pointed out and others have pointed out, we didn't pay all this for this new tech, that is very capable of doing 60 frames per second for you all to give us 30 frames per second games charged at $70, a title. That's just, it's just not wise, I think, to go that route. So I think ultimately it's just a terrible look when it comes to that. And I think that we have enough great technology inside of these systems and consoles, rather, that it should be able to handle that. As far as the Series S being some potato that the guy alluded to and kept harping on, no, it wasn't the Series S. I think we've all come to realize that now, especially when it came to the Gotham Knights. We know it's just a poorly optimized game. I by the way, chat, if you all didn't know, I bought Gotham Knights for my PC, and I have a 1650 for mine, a super 1650 for my GTX, a GTX for my GPU rather. And that game is minimum spec. You have to have at least a 1660 and an i5 and all of that other stuff, right? So my computer can't run it with the game I just bought. Now I got to see if I can return that, by the way. So I'm annoyed by that. So I might just have to get that for the Xbox and having suffered through the 30 frames per second. But the thing is the poor optimization follows even to the PC when it comes to that game. So it's not the Series S's fault when it comes to that. It's a fault of the developers themselves. What was the third question, Risk? I'm kind of forgetting.
Is the Series S now? Will we see more 30 FPS titles? Is the Series S a potato? And why are the Gotham Knights developers such no? I think you can't.
I don't want to get too technical, because when it comes to CPU, things start to get a lot technical. Because the GPU will handle graphics and will give you 4K and all that other kind of stuff. CPU handles things in the background, like what the NPCs are doing, or loading into the world, or what people are actually doing in that world. And so, because we're seeing more open world games and a lot more systems that are integrated into that open world, this is when we might actually see the CPU being more utilized, and we might actually see that bottleneck, which will stop us from hitting that 60 frames per second. So, like, a lot of that optimization was the problem for, say, Cyberpunk, for instance, because they had a lot of systems that were integrated. So, having to load up the police coming to you when you committed a crime, or just everyday NPCs living their life and living their ordinary lives so you could follow them around. I think a really good example of that is Bethesda games. So you can just follow NPCs around. All that is handled by the CPU. So the
Yeah.
more open world games that we get, the more we're going to see the CPU being utilized. And not only that, it also handles physics and things like that, AI, things of that nature. So, but in terms of what we're getting for Gotham Knights, there's absolutely no reason why the CPU is being utilized. Yes, it's an open world game, but there's not much going on. I mean, there isn't NPCs that are going about living their lives. They're basically just walking around waiting for you to go kill them. I mean, it's as simple as that. So, yeah, it's just purely down to the developer. I have a little bit more of an issue with something maybe like Starfield. So Starfield will have a lot of systems that are going to be utilized in the background. It's going to be a massive open world game. It's going to have those integrated systems like NPCs walking around. That'll be very interesting to see if we can hit 60 on that.
Yeah, look, absolutely. I think they will be able to do it. These CPUs are no slouches. They're probably, if you look at the PCs, they're in the mid-range, top mid-range of CPUs, and obviously they'll start to drop further and further down the rung as the generation goes on, as they create better CPUs. Look, that's going to happen. It is expected. So it'll be interesting to see in the future if the Series S does get that mid-gen refresh, or if both do, or if PS5 do. We'll see where we're at. We'll see what happens. I don't think it's acceptable to have 30 FPS.
I agree, Boba.
What do you say?
Yeah.
Cut it short, COD calls. And I just wanted to point out what Scotty said. Scotty's made a great point that the cloud AI can take a lot of the load off the CPU, and that actually is happening in the game. And I think that was a lot of the thing that Crackdown 3 was trying to build on and implement on. So take away some of the things that the CPU had to do and push them through to the cloud. So it's a great point, mate.
Well, look, that's actually happening with you can do that with the CPU. You can actually do it with the GPU as well, because COD streams textures in. So as you're playing a quick FPS shooter, they're streaming those textures in. You can absolutely do that. There's ways around thing. I think it's just a poorly optimized game. I'm not sure if it was a design choice or how they decided that they were going to go that route, but it was a poor route to go. But Boba, you read my mind. I was literally about to say that's the show for the week. I just want to thank everyone in the chat. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Really appreciate every single one of you. And guys, reach out to Shooter and say g'day. He is not well at the moment, and we're hoping that he gets better real soon and gets what he needs. So Shooter, best of luck to you. Mr. Bushido, it's great to have you back on every time you do come back on. Thank you very much for giving us your takes. One of our favorite people in the community. Let people know where they can find you, what you'll be up to, and just let everyone know all of his links are down there in the description. So just head down there, click on Mr. Bushido and follow him. What do you be playing this week? What do you be up to?
I'm trying to finish scoring this week. I really have to, because it's a short game. I'm gonna try to finish scoring. I might want to get a little shipbreaker in too, just to make sure I keep up with the controls, because the controls are not easy. And I'm gonna finish Cyberpunk. I think I'm done everything that I need to do, and I could do the main story now and do something else after that. So I'm gonna do that.
Fantastic.
As I keep doing it.
Fantastic. There was a trash ass game. I'd never play it, but I'm glad you like it.
Did you announce other podcasts that you're on, Bushido? I don't think you did.
Oh yeah, yes. I'm sorry. All right, let me start again. So that will be okay. Wednesday nights, I'm on the Spooky Sprocket show, but he calls it the Backlog Basterdz. I still call it Spooky Sprocket show. That is on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. Eastern Standard Time. And on Thursday, I'm on the KY Bobby show. I'm still trying to get KY Bob an endorsement for KY, but he keeps saying it's Kansas, but I mean Kentucky, but yeah, it's not. It's not. It's not. I don't care what he says. But his show is on Thursdays at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and the Doomsayers Den at 6:30 Friday nights.
Absolutely.
Make sure you tune in for KY. He'll get you
console,
nice and lubricated. You know what I mean? Get your alcohol and get your drinks.
Almost
get
all
your-
of those
your oils.
almost all of those podcasts are linked in the description. There's one that's not linked, and that's not accidental. Jedi Knight Peter, another fantastic show. Great takes, great week. Tell us what you'll be playing, what you'll be up to, and how your week's gonna look.
I'm hiding offline so I can finish Plague's Tale. Oh, leave me alone. I'm not playing COD with you. No, I'll be playing COD with everyone as usual. I will try and get Plague's Tale in. I think I'll definitely finish it this week. I am loving that game. What an amazing show. So good to have Bushido here again. Yeah, really missed Doomy, but amazing by you, Risk It. Thank you, chat. You guys are awesome. You can find me at Jedi Knight Peter at Twitter, at Jedi Knight Peter on Xbox.
Absolutely, and you head down below and you can find all the panel members' links as well. Guys, don't forget to hit that like button on the way out. Umbra, another fantastic week, another fantastic podcast. For fuck's sake, boycott so we can play. What do you be playing for the rest of the week? What do you be up to?
So it's interesting, right? I was talking all of that stuff, and you know what I did? I did a thing, you guys. I bought Gotham Knights with my Microsoft Rewards points.
Oh, you could have got COD, man. What are you
did not take my advice. He just doesn't want to play COD with us because he knows how bad he is.
Yes, that's part of it. That's part of it. I also feel like I feel cheated because I couldn't play Gotham Knights on my PC, so I'm gonna return that and I'm gonna play this. But I will get COD though. As far as that goes, I forgot to mention I was playing Halo with a bunch of buddies too. Me, myself, who else was it? KJ and TJ. But yeah, as far as that goes, I will be playing Gotham Knights tonight, everybody. But I will, jump into a party with you guys to talk and chop it up. I want to say thanks to the chat and everybody for holding us down as you always do. Shooter, much love to you, brother. Hope everything goes well. You're a great person in the community. Stay you, man, and we appreciate you. Bushido, thank you for coming through. That's probably the only time you'll ever hear me say that to you. And it was a good show.
I
Good
appreciate
talking
being
with you
allowed
guys.
to come on. So I always appreciate being allowed to. So yeah.
I tried to fight against it, but they outranked me. It is. They
It is what
outnumbered
it
me.
is.
It is what it is. I had to accept it. No, but yeah, Cutie, I hope you feel better. I know you had a migraine and everything. Just thanks to everybody, and of course you can find me here on 8 o'clock Eastern and on Boom's podcast, Xbox Factor, at 12 Eastern on Tuesdays. So see you guys out there, and don't feel afraid to hit us up and join our party sometimes. So long as it doesn't get too hectic.
Absolutely, and again, those that podcast and Umbra's links are all down below. So head down there and click on them, follow, check him out. Also, Umbra, I don't know if you saw Random Guy's comment there, but he said you should have bought it on Xbox. Then you can log into your PC, and you still would have had a PC copy. So that's kind of cool. Also,
Wow.
Oh yeah. Wait a minute, is it? No, I thought that was only for like first party games though.
No, I'm pretty sure that Xbox does the parody thing. We'll see. Check it out. Let me know. But me, myself, and I will be playing COD a lot this week. I'll be trying to finish Plague's Tale. And I've got another little game that I want to do a bit of streaming on, and I'm probably going to do a review on, called The Darkest Tales. It's like a badass teddy bear, side-scrolling, sword, swashbuckling, kind of grim fairy tale adventure. Pretty cool, especially for Halloween. So guys, stay tuned to the channel and check that out. Everyone that came through, guys, really appreciate you guys. You're absolute champions. Chat powers the show. Shooter, you're a legend. Hit me up later on, man. We'll have chat. And guys, we are out of here for the week. Much love. Hit the like button and all that